It's my pleasure to rise today on behalf of the people of Ottawa-Vanier to debate Bill 98. As a former school board trustee in Ottawa, it is a pleasure to be here and to say that from where I stand, I see in the bill many improvements and a positive impact on the functioning of our school boards. Now, this does not mean that I don't agree with the criticism my colleague from Ottawa South made yesterday. In fact, he did bring up some valid question as to how the government would be using the new powers it's giving itself, again, in this new bill, and about the lack of investment, and I'm with him on that. But like many others in this House, I was a school board trustee before coming to Queenspark, including as chair of my board, a Francophone board. And I have experienced firsthand some of the challenges involved with the transfer of school properties between school board, the problematic conduct of certain trustees, the importance of having an accountability mechanism for the Director of Education, and also the importance of accountability and transparency on funding expenditures, for example. I see those challenges being addressed in the bill, so it gives me hope that maybe the government has been listening. Now, I'm not saying that this bill called Better Schools and Student Outcomes Act is delivering on all the needs of our education system. And as my colleagues from the NDP side have indicated abundantly, appropriate funding is the bottom line when it comes to be able to accomplishing anything. Comme on dit en français, c'est le nerf de la guerre. There are a number of measures in this bill that are aimed at making school boards function more effectively, and I support these measures. For example, I cannot disagree with the fact that bad behavior by school trustees can negatively affect the operations of a school board. So the requirement for a code of conduct for the Board of Trustees with an enforcement mechanism through an integrity commissioner to resolve complaints is something that's been needed for quite a while. A performance appraisal process for directors of education is also a necessity. Directors of education, as we know, play an extremely important role within a school board, essentially acting as the CEO and overseeing the operations of the school board. If we want our students to succeed, then we need to have well-functioning school boards, and that requires strong leadership. That said, I think it is equally important to not only properly evaluate the performance of directors of education, but also ensure that they have the support, professional development training, and resources that they need to do the best job possible. Similarly, speaker board members also must be supported when it comes to training and professional development so that they can effectively represent their communities and improve education for children in Ontario. As we know, elected officials like us, but also including school trustees, are not required to have a specific profile or expertise to be able to put their name forward. Elected board members usually come from different backgrounds without necessarily having an in-depth knowledge of the education system. While they bring valuable different perspectives representing their community, providing relevant training could help everyone contribute with a better understanding of the system. Therefore, if Bill 98 can outline and support needed training for board members, I consider this to be a step in the right direction. The curriculum is obviously another extremely important part of our education system, and unfortunately, it is not updated as often as it should be, in my opinion. I've always said that our education system needs to be modernized, that we should be ahead of the game when it comes to responding to changes in society. The education we provide to our children needs to reflect the current work market demand, but also prepare them to become independent members of society with a critical mind. We should also make efforts to respond to the reality that kids learn differently. Why don't we take this more into consideration in our teaching methods? But whatever changes the Minister of Education may decide to implement, I would ask that in doing so, he consults with the school boards and gives them sufficient time and notice and resources so that they can effectively and efficiently implement positive changes. Not doing so means that school boards are struggling and are forced to implement less than perfect measures. Speaker, while there is good material in this bill, I am concerned with the new regulation-making powers that Bill 98 would give the minister by allowing him to make requirements on school boards and trustees without consulting them. The bill gives the minister regulation-making powers in a number of areas, including curriculum updates, training for board members, apprenticeship learning, requirements for board communication and reporting, and more. While I'm not necessarily opposed to the minister having these powers, I am concerned that they may be abused. Stakeholders in the education sectors have already expressed their concern with the lack of prior consultation for Bill 98 itself, and I'm concerned that the minister will take a similar approach when exercising his regulatory powers. Our school boards have expertise and knowledge of the local realities that are important for the minister to hear and understand. He must take the time to listen and give those perspectives adequate consideration. It is up to this House and the people of Ontario to hold the ministers to account when they abuse the powers given to them. I promise that I will do my part to ensure that the Minister of Education does not abuse these extra powers by simply placing requirements on school boards without any prior consultation. Maintenant, Madame la Présidente, j'aimerais prendre un peu de temps pour souligner des enjeux spécifiques auxquels font face les conseils scolaires de langue française dans cette province. Ces conseils scolaires sont en pleine croissance, tandis que le nombre d'étudiants dans les conseils scolaires de langue anglaise est plutôt à la baisse. C'est une réalité. Les conseils scolaires anglophones ont donc souvent des bâtiments qui restent vides ou qui sont peu utilisés. Il est alors souvent le cas qu'un conseil francophone cherche un bâtiment pour mieux servir son nombre croissant d'étudiants, mais que le conseil anglophone de la même région qui dispose d'une école vide refuse de la vendre au conseil scolaire francophone. C'est une situation qui est inacceptable et injuste pour nos apprenants francophones. Il nous faut un meilleur moyen d'employer nos actifs immobiliers pour satisfaire les besoins de tous les conseils scolaires dans une région particulière. Le projet de loi 98 s'attaque précisément à cette problématique en éliminant certaines étapes du processus de la vente d'un immeuble pour le rendre plus efficace et en donnant également au ministre le pouvoir d'obliger 2 conseils scolaires à collaborer. Cependant, une fois de plus, Madame la Présidente, il est important que le ministre n'intervienne qu'après avoir écouté l'avis des conseils scolaires et considéré les besoins particuliers des étudiants francophones. Les conseils scolaires francophones font également face à une forte pénurie de main-d'œuvre, et ça dure depuis des années. Nos écoles francophones ont besoin d'un grand nombre d'enseignants qualifiés pour répondre à la demande accrue pour une éducation en langue française. Ce projet de loi a le potentiel d'aider les conseils scolaires à mieux servir les familles et les étudiants de cette province. Mais si on n'a pas assez d'enseignants, ça servira à toute fin pratique à rien. Alors, j'encourage le ministre de travailler avec la ministre des Collèges et universités pour augmenter le nombre de diplômés en enseignement francophone chaque année. Speaker, as a whole, Bill 98 is a positive step in the right direction, and I support many of the measures included in it. However, all these changes will not be effective without adequate funding to accompany them and without meaningful and timely consultation. Our school boards, our teachers, and most importantly, our students need more support from this government so that we can reduce class sizes and ensure students have the resources that they need to succeed. I thank the Minister for bringing forward these important changes. I encourage him to back it up with real investments in our students. Thank you, Madam.